Welcome back to We Like That podcast.
Because we like that. I'm Javon.
And I'm Calvin.
And welcome back to We Like That podcast.
Because we like that.
It was my birthday this weekend.
I want to say to the first lady of the podcast, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Do like church.
Oh.
We here at the church of We Like That podcast.
This feels blasphemous.
And a church in Christ. We just want to say to the first lady, we love you. We adore you. We appreciate you. We all here at the church want to give you flowers while you're here.
Where are my flowers?
In the back. You get your flowers during the program.
Oh, okay.
We just want to say we love you, we adore you, and we want to thank God for you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Amen. Thank you.
Also, another birthday shout out to
Angela,
friend of the podcast, Angelica.
Pickles.
She's just like the girl on Rugrats. She bullies people into doing what they don't want to do.
She's a menace, but we love her. And
Nah, seriously, she's a really good friend.
Mm-hmm.
Sister from another mother.
Aw.
And we love y'all both. Y'all enjoy y'all birthdays. Hopefully y'all had a great day.
Capricorn season.
Also, we will sing the National Black Anthem for birthdays.
What's the National Black Anthem?
Happy birthday to ya.
Oh.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Let's hear her get the chorus. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Okay. That's the National Black Anthem for birthdays.
Wow.
And now moving on to that scat boop that bap that happened with Joe.
I am still recovering from whatever that was.
What?
Your song. What was that?
You don't know Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday?
I don't think you know Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday.
Yeah, it's Happy Birthday. That's exactly how I sung it.
The random claps?
That's just to add something to the background.
Okay.
To keep a beat, Javon.
Okay.
That's all the clap was.
So confused. All right. Anyway, on to the.
Act like I got a band just waiting to play the whole song.
You acting like you sang the song correctly. You did
Yeah.
not.
Then how'd it goes?
Then how'd it goes?
Yeah, how'd it goes?
Oh gosh.
How'd it go?
Moving on to That Happened.
Exactly.
Real quick, I did want to shout out Calvin for taking me on a mobile tea room / sightseeing journey of DC
Don't appreciate me now.
yesterday. I was not expecting it whatsoever. It was so girly and so pink and so Bridgerton-esque, and I loved every second of it. We did sit at the tiniest table, but it was great. I tried to drink very hot scalding tea, burn my mouth. It was worth it. It was just so much fun. It really was. And then we went and saw DJ D Nice. Shout out to our friend again who gave us these wonderful tickets in great seats. And we caught DJ Nice. It was surreal to be an old head. I didn't know how I feel about that, but I had a good
First of
time.
all, I put you in a room where you're one of the youngest in the room, so you should be happy about that.
What?
Let's just start there. So I checked off every box.
No, you did not.
Yes.
Where's my flowers?
Ungrateful.
Yeah.
Like I said, you get your flowers at the end of this program.
Oh my gosh. Anywho, on to other stuff that's happening in That Happened. Real quick, did you ever manage to see the video of the girl who got chastised by the pastor of her church?
I saw pieces of the video. I didn't watch the
Okay.
full video, but that happens in some churches.
So in Hampton, Virginia, there is an apostolic church that recently gained notoriety because they were live streaming when they had one of the members of their church, this young lady, come up to apologize to the church for being pregnant. This young woman's in her 20s. They don't go after the father, who, rumor has it, is part of the pulpit of the church.
Maybe they don't know.
And they make her apologize for being pregnant, not in wedlock,
Having a
outside of
baby,
wedlock.
having a baby out of wedlock. Maybe they don't know who the father is.
They know.
That's either.
But the thing was, they live streamed it, and then they were surprised that people had such a visceral reaction.
No.
Other local pastors wrote to that pastor to ask him to rethink the approach for this.
No, what happened was really the fact that he told her she can't have no baby showers and all that. That's what I think people really got.
You don't think
upset
making this
about.
girl apologize was over the top?
Did she say they made her apologize?
They streamed it. They live streamed her.
Did she come out and say they made her apologize?
She didn't have to. They live streamed making her come up to apologize. She didn't have to say anything because you could watch them tell her, go up to the front and apologize. They put a doily on her head and she had to formally apologize to the congregation. They live streamed all of it.
That's the church she chose to be a part of.
Okay. I don't know that she chose, but all right. Her mom's in it. Her mom was on Facebook saying that the church did nothing wrong, basically. And people were like, wow.
I think because, once again, it was streamed. They're not thinking that somebody's going to take this stream and then send it out to the world and be like, see how they're chastising this.
They sent it out
poor human being.
They sent it out to the world.
Well, I don't think.
And then people were showing up at the church in person. That was the other wild thing. People
I don't know
showing
why.
up at the church.
It does make sense. To me, it is what it is. I think a lot of churches have this policy.
I don't know. So it prompted this whole discussion, especially amongst the Black community, Black TikTok, Black Facebook, Black Twitter.
God.
How they remember this being a part of old school church, when they were coming up, especially if they were in the 80s. They remember it being a part of old school church, but how now with reflection, with prioritization on your own well-being and stuff like that, how it doesn't really fit with a lot of what they've learned the Bible to be. And so a lot of them were still shocked that this was something that was happening.
Just because you interpret the Bible a certain way doesn't mean other people interpret the Bible the same way you interpret it. Let's start there. At the end of the day, I'm not going to yell at church for what they do. If people don't like it, then don't go to the church.
I think as a
That's
woman,
not the only church.
it is interesting that they did go after this young lady, but didn't go after the father, who they established was a part of the church. They didn't say the pulpit. They did say he was a member of the church, but they don't go after him.
We don't. Just here's the thing. People's frustration is they didn't make the guy come up and apologize.
People's frustration is that they made her apologize. Period. She's in her 20s. She's not. It's not like it wouldn't have made it better if she was a young girl, but she's an adult.
To me, she could have said no and just left the church.
Interesting.
Was her mom gonna be embarrassed?
Yeah.
So I don't have to say it.
I'm just saying it's interesting that they want to foster this type of shame for their fellow man, and then at the same breath talk about how you can't judge each other. It's quite interesting to me.
I just didn't. I like the fact that they try to talk about she can't do this, she can't do that. You go to the birthday shower and all this other crap that has nothing to do with church at all. That's my issue. But other than that, I don't go to church. I don't pay tithes. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But could they have just pulled her in the back and let her just apologize?
Why did she have to apologize? That's the other thing that was blowing me. Granted, I did not go to churches like that. I went to non-denominational white people church.
Didn't go to church, period. So I don't know why we.
I have a background with church. Thank you very much. But
the church of staying in the house watching Sunday morning cartoons.
I know you ain't talking, Calvin.
What?
BET Gospel Channel. Anyway, so
now I did my time.
I did my time.
Sure you did.
I went to non-denominational church. I went to Catholic churches.
The church where if you say Jesus out loud, they pitch.
I got to look at the outside of a Mormon church. They won't let you in unless you are Mormon.
The church that when you say Jesus way too loud, they kick you out, or tell you go in the sanctuary. Take you out the sanctuary.
No, it was very hippy dippy type white people church.
Yeah, you got to whisper Jesus.
No, they wanted to be very modernized. It was like a rock concert, and now we have the live performance.
Jesus is my savior.
Basically.
Yeah. Jesus is my love.
Basically.
That's satanic music right there. You can't make satanic music with Jesus. That's crazy.
Our God is an awesome God.
Please stop. Please stop.
From heaven above.
Please stop.
Eyes, hands up, eyes crying.
Okay, no, I'm uncomfortable for your God. I'm uncomfortable for your God.
Listen, sometimes he also feels like shame is fine. Anyway, but that for me, it felt like a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of misogyny, and their response to the criticism was like, "You guys don't know Jesus." Like that was the response.
I understand.
So
I understand.
I was like, "What is this?"
I understand women being upset because that's messed up. I think they talked, or they hopefully they made that dude step down from the pulpit.
No, he's still the pastor.
Wait a minute, the pastor.
The pastor, head of the church.
The pastor of the church is the baby's father.
Oh no, we don't. Well, maybe we don't know who exactly, but he's the one that made her apologize, and he's the one doubling down that like they know Jesus.
And what I'm saying to
they're
you,
doing the right
and
thing.
what I'm saying to you is, hopefully that pastor is not the baby's father, and he took whoever is, if that person's in the pulpit, and
he didn't
kick him out of the pulpit. If he didn't, then God would deal with him.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe in all that stuff, then God would deal with him.
I think for other people, they were just shocked that this was still something that happens.
I don't know why people are shocked when old school stuff happens. Like,
because they feel like it is old school. Like they're like, how is this?
I don't know.
Still a thing.
First of all, why are we shocked by anything?
Because
with all the stuff that happens and we see it on the internet, why are we shocked by anything?
Because we think that there's progression and there's forward movement, and then you're like, oh.
We don't see on
not everywhere.
The internet all the time people still living their old-fashioned ways. Henceforth, the overturn of Roe v. Wade and all this stuff. That's the old school mentality of thinking.
I think there's a different discussion about the reversal of Roe v. Wade.
It's the same thing. Women shouldn't be able to make decisions.
To a extent, yeah.
Without the
men say so.
Yeah.
But a lot of
it's the same old school
There's
thought.
also a lot of ideology around white people maintaining the superior race and how like they want to make sure that abortion is not an option because their numbers are going down.
An old school mentality and way of thought. I feel
like the cover up is an old school mentality, but the actuality is that they don't want their numbers to lower.
It's still the same thing.
I don't know. I don't think they would have cared.
It's still the same thing.
Because it wasn't a problem until very recently, like this abortion. I mean, the abortion stuff, you always had people who were against it, but
it's still
like political parties centering it and creating legislation for it is relatively new.
No, they all believed it. They've been pushing for it for the longest. They just didn't have the ability to,
I've seen
to get it
several interviews done where it's usually the poor interviewer blown away. They're talking to some rich old white guy who's like, yeah, you just like you care about your people, I care about my people. And we want to make sure that our numbers continue to grow. Like it's a legitimate fear.
I think it's men wanting to have more power over women. I just think that. I don't think it has.
I think it's both, but I also think there's a stronger connotation.
At the end of the day,
that their numbers are dipping.
We're getting off the subject. Should have made the girl apologize. I think what they should have done, they should just cut the feed and just have it done if they're gonna do it, and then pick the feed back up. But in their minds, in their thought process, they didn't think it would turn into this.
I don't think they thought anybody outside of their church was watching the feed.
Exactly. I don't think any church thinks anybody outside of their feed is watching. And if they are...
But the point of the live feed is to try to garner more membership.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, if it's not working over a certain period of time, you're just doing it now for members who can't make it to church.
The other thing that cracked me up is this is in Hampton. This is in Hampton, Virginia.
Why?
This is a blackity black area
Okay.
with a historical college.
Okay.
It is very interesting that this exists still. It's
Means absolutely
very interesting.
nothing.
Very interesting to me.
I guess I'm not shocked by it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want to know what happened to the dude. If nothing happened to the dude,
Nothing happened to the dude.
We assume nothing happened to the dude.
They've still been streaming their services.
Yeah.
Nothing happened to the dude.
Would they stop?
Nothing happened to the dude.
I'm not saying they're gonna make the dude get on live feed and
They made the girl.
I just want to. Did they do anything to the guy?
Probably not.
Whatever. And you're right, probably not. Most likely, probably not. But it is what it is. It's old school, backwoods church. I don't even say
It's
backwoods.
not even backwoods. They're in Hampton.
Old school church. It's old school church.
It's very interesting.
The people that, just like people have believed their faiths to their core and follow some teachings to the letter of the T, and others not so much. Same thing. So.
It was interesting.
And who's to say they didn't talk to the mom? The mom was okay with this too. She said she was okay with it, right?
Yeah, she did.
So
she said she was fine.
I'm pretty sure they talked to the mom talked to her.
What I'm saying is them talking to the mom, she's not a little kid. She's in her 20s. So her talking to the
And that's my other thing. She in her 20s. I'd be like, nah. And they'd be like, well, you can't go to church anymore. Okay. I probably passed 5 different other churches to get here.
I don't know.
That's all I'm saying.
I feel like it's layered because she goes up there and apologizes. So I feel like this is the church she grew up in.
She did it on behest of her mom.
I don't know. I feel like this is the church she grew up in. I feel like she does believe in a lot of those teachings to a degree. And she did feel like she owed it to the church to make this apology.
I think she did it more because she didn't want to embarrass her mom. Because she know her mom still has to go to that church.
I don't know.
And who's to say them people aren't vindictive? So
I'm just saying that's a lot of flaw. That's a lot of flaw for people who are so righteous.
Yeah, that's the irony.
Mm-hmm. It's not irony, it's hypocrisy.
Same thing.
Not the same thing.
To me, same one and the same.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting. Moving on to the other stuff that happened and that happened. I have been watching Love is Blind Germany. Worth it. Worth it. If you haven't seen Love is Blind Germany, please watch it. If you want to see a bunch of adults acknowledge that they are moving crazily in the way that they are dating and not change anything, but still have these frank conversations where they definitively talk about what they're doing wrong. It's so interesting. It's so interesting to me.
So it's just like every other Love is Blind,
No.
every other country.
Other Love is Blinds, usually they dance around a subject or they don't really talk about what they really want to talk about. Like they kind of turn away from it and hope the other person figures it out. That's usually what happens, especially if it's American. That's exactly what happens. They kind of like try to circle around it and hope for the best. It is, I don't want to say stereotypical, but it's kind of known that like with Germany, other countries outside of the US, they tend to be a lot more blunt and a lot more frank. Germans particularly, they tend to be very specific and pragmatic and logistical.
What I'm saying is
and it's so interesting to see that applied in their dating lives, but at the same time, not do anything to correct
what
it.
I'm saying
It is so interesting.
That's what I'm saying. They know what they need to do. They don't correct it anyway and still do the same thing and
It's so
want a
interesting.
different outcome. That's what I'm saying.
There is a couple
The
in
only
there.
difference is that the people in Germany admit it.
There's a couple in there. Alina and Ilias. Ilias has told his dates that he cheated previously, another relationship.
And he's going to do it again.
He says that, he's always, he finds himself looking for stuff. He finds himself curious about certain people. And then he decides to explore that, even though he's in a relationship with somebody else. Openly says this. And he goes like, I don't want to do that in the future. And the partner he eventually picks, this girl, Alina, goes, I understand. We all have our past. We all make these decisions, but I hope that you'll be communicative, communicate with me when stuff like that happens with us. He agrees, and they end up getting engaged. While at the same time, he actually built a really close relationship with another girl in the pod. This girl named Hani. Hani is built like a brick house. This is the thickest German girl I've ever seen.
Sure.
She's beautiful, and they actually got along in the pods before they could see each other. And then when they happen to see each other, because they both get engaged to other people, and they end up meeting at like one of their little reunion things for the honeymoon. He's like, "Oh no, like I have some feelings for Hani." Doesn't tell Alina this, right away. Doesn't tell Alina this right away, but he's like, "My curiosity around Hani is continuing to grow." Alina picks up on it and asks him directly. She's like, "Do you still wanna explore something with Hani?" Knowing, 1, Hani's not interested in you, and 2, she's committed in a relationship, and you are committed in a relationship with me. Like, that's what we're doing moving forward, and he's like, "Yeah, it's terrible that this is happening, and I don't wanna make you feel bad, but I do have this curiosity, but I did choose you. I chose you for a
The
reason.
curiosity is she looks good. That's the only
The
curiosity that he
curiosity is
has.
that she looks good." And then he meets up with her again when they have, like, another little group thing, and Hani tells Alina that she's gonna find out where Ilias's head is at for her. And so she goes and has another long conversation with him where it's flirty and there's banter, and he's like, "Yeah, I do have some curiosity, having these long talks with you is not helping anything." And finally, Hani goes, "Well, this is not gonna go anywhere. I chose who I chose. You chose who you chose." Hani chose a guy named Daniel. She's like, "This is not gonna go any further than friendship. I care about Alina, I care about Daniel. I mean, you and I can be friends, but this is not gonna move forward anywhere." But it takes her so long to get to that part of the conversations. Up until then, she kinda had left, like, these doors open for him to kinda, like, think that something else could happen. But she finally tells him, like, cemently tells him, "This is what's going on." And he's still like, "Well, I still have this curiosity." But he pushes through with Alina. He pushes through with Alina. She brings it up to him again, like, "Hey, this really hurts my feelings when this is going on and you're doing this and you're doing that. If you don't wanna be with me, just say you don't wanna be with me. We can end this. This doesn't have to keep going." He ends up apologizing and moving forward with Alina anyway. And then in the Honey and Daniel side of the house, Honey wants a lot of things. She doesn't wanna be treated like an object. She has a history, a romantic history of dating people who kinda just treat her like she's a trophy because she's beautiful, and not really as a partner, as, like, a full person partner. Daniel seems to be doing this with her. He is infatuated with her looks, but he also pays attention to her, listens to her, like, she feels like she can really trust this guy, and at the same time, it freaks her out. She keeps pulling away from him, saying that she needs to be by herself, saying she has to get space from him. It's the night before they're supposed to get married, and she fully disappears. But she tells him, "I gotta disappear. I have to go to recollect my thoughts." And it's like, I feel like everything in you is saying, "Don't get married to this guy." Or even though you want this commitment, you aren't ready to receive this commitment because it freaks you out. But she's still pushing through for the wedding. She gets her dress and everything. Daniel's mom is like, "This is not gonna last. She's for sure gonna dump him." And that's where we leave it. There's other couples, but I don't care about them. I only care about Alina and Elias and Honey and Daniel. There's a couple of black girls on here. I don't know what they're doing at all. One of them is this model. There was a guy who was certain about her, and then there was a guy who was wishy-washy about her, and she chooses the guy who's wishy-washy. She's like, "Well, I can work through it with him. I just have a better connection with him." She chooses that guy. Then they go on their honeymoon, and the guy quickly realizes he's not into her. He's like, "Even though we had this connection in the pods, I don't wanna waste your time. I'm not feeling anything romantically for you." He breaks it up with her. What is happening? And then the other guy that was certain about her, he had another black girl on the hook, this younger girl, and he was concerned about the age gap because this younger girl, 1, she was a little more withholding. She didn't tell him a lot about her emotions or what she was feeling as they were going through the process. And she finally opens up as like a last ditch effort at the end, but he's kind of like, "It's too late. I'm into this other girl who doesn't choose him." So when he sees the other black girl at their little reunion dinner, he tries to make an effort to like reach out to her, but she goes, "No, I'm nobody's second choice." Bye. It was it was hilarious.
Good
It
for
was
her.
hilarious.
Good for her.
And then there's a third black girl who's dating another black guy, but it feels like they keep self-sabotaging. When she met him out of the pods, he was like this he just kept giggling. He just kept giggling the whole time. She's like, "This is awkward." She ghosted him. She left the experiment, was like, didn't tell him anything, ghosted. Then they meet up again outside the pods, and he kinda wants closure for it, and she goes, "I just thought we didn't have the same chemistry as, like, behind the walls. I met you, it was awkward, you kept giggling, I didn't think you were interested," and he goes, "I just giggle when I'm nervous, like, that's just what happens. When I get super, super nervous, I start to laugh," and she goes, "Well, I'm willing to try again if you are," and I'm like, "What's happening?" And they move in together. They move in together, and it seems to be going okay. They move in together, it seems like they're getting along. She meets his family. Everything seems to go well. When it's time for him to meet her family, all of a sudden, there's all these rules. He needs to get a haircut. He needs to talk a certain way. He needs to be willing to move closer to her and her family. And he's like, "Well, I have my own family. We didn't discuss any of this before. What's going on?" And they left it at that cliffhanger. What's going to go on there? It's great. It's great. Also, all these black people. Who knew?
Everybody knew. It's called World War II.
What does that mean? Anyway.
A lot of black soldiers went to Germany and cleaned up.
And cleaned up? What do you mean? Like cleaned up the country?
Messed with a lot of German females.
I thought that was France.
No.
That's what I learned after World War II. Is that a lot of black men went back to France.
No. Germany.
Very interesting. So that's all happening. Did I have anything else? I think that's it. I just really watched Love is Blind Germany and wanted to talk about that church situation. That's it for That Happened with Joe.
Yeah. Love on my own terms / blind Germany. So I guess we're gonna move into
Love during Lockup. This is season 5, episode 55. It's called The 7-Year Wait. Our threesome couple is not there this time.
Love during Lockup.
Right. So, you want to talk about
Shakima, Donnie. Pretty much, Donnie doesn't know why the hell he's in a hole or being transferred or anything.
He didn't tell her anything.
But apparently,
we don't hear from him at all this episode.
He's been drug dealing in prison.
We find that out because Shakima gets a letter from the prison saying, 1, she's no longer authorized to be on his visitor list. 2, her name is jointly affiliated with new charges he's developed for trying to distribute, what's it called?
Ketamine.
Drug paraphernalia. It wasn't ketamine.
Yeah.
No.
It was that. It was a whole lot of stuff he was trying to do.
It didn't say ketamine.
Okay.
It was coke. Anyway.
Sure. It is also. Yeah, anywho, pretty much all you need to know, he's been drug dealing in prison. That's all you need to know.
And using Jakima's Cash App to do it. Which is why her name's affiliated with it.
So it seems like he's been telling her, I need $500. She's like, okay. And he's sending her the money.
It wasn't to her. That was our theory, was that he was asking for the money and she was moving it around. His uncle was. That's what she said after she read the letter.
His uncle asked him for $500.
No.
And she was sending it to him.
His uncle sent him $500,
So
whatever.
to
her Cash App.
So the uncle sent Shakima the money and Shakima put it on his books?
No, he has access to her Cash App because he has his own. Remember, he has his own tablet or phone or whatever.
Okay, so the uncle,
but they were just using her Cash App to do it.
The uncle sent the money to her Cash App, and he will get the money and do whatever he needs to do to it
to push more.
And
drugs
then he asked the uncle for another $550. The uncle sent another $550 to the Cash App, and he used it. So basically, the fact that her name was on the Cash App is why they just assume she knows what's going on.
Well, that and her constant contact with the inmates.
So, and now she calls the prison. And the prison like, as usual, we can't tell you nothing.
Well, she's not married to Donnie, so she doesn't have any legal right to ask about him.
And she's not his emergency contact neither.
Right.
So they're like, we can't tell you anything. And oh, by the way, he moved.
They didn't say move. They just said he's not at this prison. That's what they said.
Basically, that's saying he moved. So she's pretty much in the dark. She's now.
They didn't say he moved. They said his number. The number she gave them is not the number that they've got. They said that number's no longer at this prison. That's what they said.
Which means he's been moved,
or he has a new number,
or they're not telling her that he's there.
Yeah, he might be there with a new number. He has new charges.
So, so she's in limbo now, and she's pretty much regretting the decisions and all the stuff that she made. Or is she? I don't know.
Yeah, she is rethinking a lot of it because she kept saying if he did anything with drugs, that was her time to be out, to be done. But here's my question. I understand trying to get more clarification from the prison. I didn't understand the attitude she cops trying to get these answers from the prison. Additionally, I don't know why her first call wasn't to a lawyer to make sure that her legal rights were protected. The prison's not going to protect them rights. And you saying that you didn't have anything affiliated with the inmate isn't going to do anything for the prison. The prison isn't going to do any of that. The lawyer would do that for you. So I was confused what she thought was going to happen at the end of this phone call.
All she do is bitch and complain. That's it.
Okay.
That's all she's going to do.
I was confused. But that really was all the story for her. We don't hear from Donnie at all. It's just her freaking out about how her name's associated with these new charges he's developed and how she can't talk to him now, for sure. Like, she's not authorized to do so whatsoever. So now she can't even get any answers from him either. But she is in contact with his family. So I would hope she would go that route. Start talking with the family.
Why are we going to talk to the uncle to put ourselves in even more?
No, not the uncle, his sister. Talk to the one you have a good contact with.
And the sister's probably going to tell him, talk to the uncle.
Okay, but it won't be her directly talking to the uncle.
The sister's going to tell her she need to talk to the uncle.
I don't think so. I think the sister knows how to move to get this information.
Whatever. I doubt it. Tia and Rob. Rob is out. Is it Tia? It's Tia, right?
It is Tia.
Okay.
Because it's very similar to Teenie and Rob.
Yeah, I thought
so similar.
I thought I said Teenie. So Tia and Rob. Rob's out.
Boop, 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 boop.
She want that D bad.
She said she just wants to hunch him continuously, and he isn't ready for these cojones, which means balls. But she rubs her chest, so I don't.
Maybe she
know.
She got ballsy chest.
She got a testicular chest.
Yeah. Cause no, I'm not even gonna say that. Anywho,
I don't know where that mind was gonna go.
Yeah, it was gonna go really nasty. White stuff could come out of her both places. Anywho, he meets her daughter in person for the first time, I'm assuming.
Yeah. She didn't take her daughter to the prison.
I don't like that. I don't like these women letting these dudes get attached or putting these dudes in these kids' life.
Sometimes the dudes are great though. Like, do you remember Quaylon?
Yeah.
He loved that girl's daughter. I can never remember the girl he was with, but he loved that little girl. He was dedicated to that little girl.
I still don't think you should do it, especially if either the mom or the child or the dude is unstable. It's every time you see that one of them are unstable. It's rare that both in a situation like oh God, what's her name? Michael and say what you want to say.
Sarah?
No, Michael and the ones from last season.
Michael? Justine?
Just Michael and Justine.
Okay.
A lot of time it doesn't work out like that. Where both have kids and the other one takes the other person's kids and loves them the same way.
But what I'm saying is it took several seasons for you to see that. Because when we first saw him get out, it also was like, I don't know how comfortable it is with her kids calling him dad. Her son was basically like, I'm not going to call you dad. Like, because he also did not seem stable. So we've seen several seasons of them stick it out.
Yeah, but what I'm saying too is it normally they don't get to marriage. They say they're going to marry or they married and then it goes left real fast. Like, was it Joey? and what's her face from last season?
Joey.
The girl from North Carolina.
What?
The dude that went back because he was on the drugs. She gave him a drug test.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yes, the white lady.
Yeah. Sometimes it ends
Kim.
up. Yeah, Kim. Sometimes it ends up like that. A lot of times it ends up like that.
What, he's still in their lives. They got married. She finally got divorced. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
She finally got her divorce.
Anywho,
And they did get married.
Like
and they are living in that new home together.
Yeah,
right
like
now.
I said, sometimes it just don't work out.
Sometimes it don't. But those are two examples where it did.
It did so, but.
And I mean, like for all intents and purposes, right now, of the two, I would say she's the unstable one. But
yeah, I think both of them unstable.
I mean, I think Rob wants to do some stuff. I think just because he missed doing it. But for the most part, whenever they're talking to him about Tia, he seems loyal. He seems like that's my woman. Like that's
He just
that's
got
it.
out. He just got out.
Also true.
So,
Also
but
true. He did just get out.
they go back, and I guess the daughter is staying with friends or a cousin.
Yeah, because she wants to hunch. Tia
So,
wants to hunch.
Apparently, they start to get into hunching, and then the daughter pulls back. They pull back up. Eventually.
What? What do you mean they pull back out?
So what happens is, I guess they try to get their alone time, but I guess the daughter wants to be.
I thought you were talking about sexually. He pulled out. I was like,
no.
What? They
No.
showed all that?
No. They start to get it on, and all of a sudden you see the daughter and the cousin and the sister come back to the door, and the daughter's beating on the door. So it seems like the daughter doesn't feel comfortable being around other people without the mom.
I don't know. It's also editing.
But we don't know. But all we know is we see them get interrupted when they're trying to get it in. And that's pretty much Tia and Rob. Rob getting out and trying to enjoy his first days with her being out.
We also had MJ and Willie. MJ's back in Utah.
Pretty much helping her mom out with cancer treatment or whatever.
Well, visiting her mom. Her mom's been doing the treatments. She's there to support her mom. She's the only kid that's not there.
Also,
of her mother.
She's also thinking about moving back because
she's the only kid that's not there.
She's the only one that's not there.
For her mom.
And Willie calls, talks to the mom. The thing about Willie is the mom knows him. Everybody knows Willie.
Yeah, he's been an old family friend for a minute.
For like decade.
Yeah.
For at least a decade.
Oh, longer. She said they grew up together.
Decade. They grew up together. So everybody knows Willie.
What cracked me up was how respectful he was to the mom.
Well, he would be. She probably helped raise him.
Probably. It was. I just love when they slip right into their native language, especially when it's Polynesian language. It's just so fun because you don't get to hear it a lot.
So then, fast forward. MJ's ex-husband calls her.
But Willie's also like, you better act right out there, MJ.
Yeah. So
act right out there, MJ.
Her ex-husband calls her and pretty much telling her he wants her back.
What did you think of MJ's mom calling her out about her ex-husband? Saying like, I know my daughter, she's gonna mess around.
Obviously, she can't be trusted.
It cracked me up that her mom was like, whatever, I know you're gonna slip back into your old ways. Doesn't matter.
She can't help. Seems like she can't help but do splits.
I understand having a long history with somebody, but why do you keep talking to them? You guys don't share any kids together. So why are you still talking to them?
So don't they do, don't they?
Do they? I thought she had no kids.
Don't they?
I don't think they do.
Oh, okay, cool. So it is what it is. If that's where you want to be, then be what you want to be. Stop
playing around.
Yeah, pretending. To me, because she can mess around and Willie gonna put her in a headlock. That's what fucking gonna happen.
She tells her mom, "Yeah, I'm dating Willie. We're hoping to get married." Her mom looked at her like, "What?"
And also,
you dumb as hell.
And also, I hate people who ruin other people's lives because you can't make a decision. So she's gonna be that person who's not in jail that's messing up an inmate's life. So that's pretty much.
What did you think of Willie saying
Willie.
That MJ's ex was what do you call him? A buster?
It's hard to say that when you're in jail.
It was hilarious. He's a bum. He's a bum. Word?
Okay. Yeah, says the person who's in jail. It's gonna call somebody else a bum.
Okay.
Guess what you're gonna be when you first get out of jail? A bum.
Confused. You're a bum right now. I'm confused.
So whatever. Good on Willie.
Hilarious.
Whatever makes him feel more of a man, I guess, or give him more power. Whatever. More power to you.
I'm wondering where they're going with the storyline because we are already like almost halfway through the season.
I don't think they're gonna stay together. I think what's gonna happen is Willie's not gonna get out, and she's gonna end up messing with the ex, and her and Willie's gonna have another fight. I think that's gonna be it.
Confusion. Last but not least, Crystal and Sam. So me and Calvin watched Crystal's whole interaction. I don't think she's as close to her grandmother as she keeps saying she is.
Yeah, Javon said that. And I'm like, why do you think that? And then I'm sitting there, and I'm like, you know what? You might be right because she doesn't call her grandma grandma. No. She calls her grandma by her first name.
Yes, but also the grandmother, like the way the grandmother acts, it feels like this is relatively new. Like I think she did help raise Crystal, but I think that's the extent of it. I think Crystal was a wild child. She did what she wanted to do.
And I took it as her being nervous, not be on TV.
I think it's both.
Or
I think it's both.
Her being just not want to see her granddaughter in that situation. But like you said, when you said, I don't think they were that close. And then I'm like, every time she talks to him, and you say this might just be for the TV, it makes more sense. Because if you, and this is where it goes to TV people just going for ratings and not paying attention to continuity. If someone says they're close, if you're going to put a storyline that she's close to her grandmama, you should tell her, hey, you need to call your grandma Granny or Grandma or Gram or something to make it seem like you're close. Calling her by her first name, most people pick that up and be like, how? You can't be that close. Just trust me. I've done a lot of things. I've never called my mom Maddie. And if I did, it's from a distance.
But it's not her mom. It's her.
But
it's
I'm just saying,
an extension.
Even my grandma. Well, I did call her Dad. That was her nickname.
Right. And you called your Aunt Julie. So, like.
Yeah. And when I woke up, it was Aunt Julie from that point on. Yeah. I made that mistake one time.
Interesting.
Who you talking to, Julie?
Right.
I mean, yes, ma'am.
Or maybe they had a reconnection very recently, but to me, it felt like the grandmother, the energy it gave me was like trying to be friendly with somebody that you just reconnected with.
I take that back. Dada was her granny name. I didn't call her Martha.
Right. She would have murdered you.
So, yes. Yeah. So that's the difference. She's literally calling grandma by like her first name. Like they're like they're acquaintances.
They're also white. But yeah, the acquaintance part is the energy it gives me though.
Even they
and I also couldn't get over the fact that the first episode we met the grandmother and it's supposed to be what's his face? Sam. Buying her groceries. He opened that fridge. It was empty. It was empty. Like clean, like new fridge, clean, empty.
So yeah, I don't and what I really thought was she was uncomfortable with Sam. Because Sam can make you uncomfortable because he says a lot of borderline things.
He's a very lonely guy also.
He was a lonely man.
And they do have the grandmother talking in a confessional about how, like, if she didn't put the brakes on it, he would have moved forward in a romantic way with her by proxy.
He had no purpose.
Which, I mean, and we in this episode in particular, we see Sam like break down over the fact that like he's very lonely. He's very lonely in his marriage to Crystal. There's a lot of stuff that he wants with her that she does not want with him. Affection being one of them. And then the fact that there's also distance and the fact that she's in prison and he's no closer to seeing her. That's the other thing. Sam meets up with a lawyer to talk about what the likelihood is of Crystal getting parole. The answer is next to 0. So it's yeah.
Yeah,
the lawyer was like, nah. He was like, what are the charges? It says in here, attack with a deadly weapon. And Sam's like, well, she gave him a cut about so big. He uses his finger and thumb to like show how big it is. The look on this lawyer's face was like, mm-hmm, yep.
She's not getting
That's how
parole.
that works.
And
He's like,
he's like, she's not getting parole. Move on,
he's
sir.
like, the only way this would work is if they knew without a shadow of a doubt that there was no way that she would get in contact with the victim. And then Sam's like, well, the victim did visit her in prison. And the lawyer goes, okay. She's not getting out, sir. So
Could it be the ultimate revenge? Him going to the prison to see her
fucking it up on purpose.
on purpose just to get her more time.
That is diabolical and a genius. So,
But I don't think no man that is that smart or diabolical. Maybe they are now because they're very emotional. But that's something a woman would do. I'll tell you that for a fact. But
how do we know he didn't have a woman put him up to it? How do we know he didn't have a new girlfriend who was like, this is what you need to do?
maybe,
Go visit her.
maybe,
Say you want to squash the beef.
maybe.
Knowing you have this full legal action against her if she gets close to you at
And
all. Do it.
even if he did, it's her dumbness for seeing
Accepting
him,
the
accepting and
visit.
seeing him. Yeah, it's her dumbness. So she gives, and she don't look like she's the smartest can in the pantry neither. So
I think she's actually very smart.
no,
I think she's actually
she wouldn't
very
have.
smart.
She wouldn't have fell for that dumb. Let me come see you, even though I'm not supposed to be within 30 feet of you.
I don't think she had anything to lose at that point. You know what I mean? There's a difference between not being smart and then just being ignorant.
She had something to lose. Parole.
But at the time that the visit happened, I don't think she was even thinking about it because the option for parole came up the year that they're filming, and he went and visited her the year prior.
Yeah. Sometimes you do things.
And she didn't have a lawyer. Remember, she was waiting. She was banking on Sam to get her a lawyer. I don't think she knew that could come back to bite her.
Like I said, sometimes you gotta live in the past to plan for the future. He saw the future. He was like, if I do this now, maybe
I'm just saying she seems to me like the type of person that kind of like lives year to year, basically.
Yeah.
So in the year prior, when that guy visited her, if she was in a good place with her girlfriend in that prison, I don't think she felt like she had anything to lose because she was going to stick with her girlfriend. But now well, for whatever reason, she's moving on from that. Now it's like, okay.
I think she thought she was smart. I think she thought she'd talk to him to get him to talk to the people to get her less time or get her off.
Or she was thinking, I'm already in prison. Like, how much trouble can I actually get in if he's the one choosing to see me?
Yeah, double jeopardy. Yeah.
But it still causes an issue. So, so Sam's in with loneliness. He's finding out that she ain't closer to coming out that prison
At all.
His friend was like, or the producer was like, how do you feel about still not seeing her for another 7 years if she doesn't get this parole? And he just like breaks down because he's very lonely. He's very, very lonely. And I think that's it. I think that's all the couples, right? Because we didn't see our triple set.
That's everybody.
We did see previews for next week with somebody crying violently in their car.
It looked, the way they cut it looked like Kaylee.
I still feel like Kaylee, that whole storyline is fake. Somebody has a fake storyline. They hinted at it.
I think it's who you said, Kate.
Unless it's a switch and it's Sam and Crystal. Unless it's a switch. Anywho, we'll find out.
Ooh, the fake storyline?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Crystal.
I think that'd be, because the voice that says it's all fake is definitely not a black voice. It's a white girl. So
I think it's Crystal.
My money's on Crystal or it being Kaylee. I feel like the Kaylee one would be the most obvious one that it's fake. But we'll find out. We'll see. Anywho, moving on to the next show. What's the next show you got?
I don't know. Hold up. 90 Days Before the 90 Days.
Uh-huh.
Season 7, episode 19, Never Let Go.
Okay.
Sunny and Vea.
Uh-huh. If you click the link, it's the recap.
I know. Pretty much, it's them getting engaged.
They're already engaged. It's them talking to his dad.
Sunny being like, we shouldn't tell my dad right now.
Yes. He's like, let's keep it a secret for right now.
But no, Vea wants to go tell him. And, of course, like you know, it just goes
left.
Downhill very fast.
Vea very much tries to white girl her way through it. It's like, we need to tell your father
I don't know why she
Let's
thought
bring him a cake, and it's Sonny being like, I
it's
don't think
not gonna work.
this is gonna work, and Vega being like, trust me,
He
and then
already
Sonny's right. That's what
he
happens.
already sees you as the devil, and then he's gonna ask me when is she gonna convert. I'm gonna not lie
Right.
and be like probably
Never.
next to never, or who knows, maybe in a year I can convince her. And you see the dad be like, "You're nothing to me." He spits
He
out
doesn't say maybe in a year. He tells the camera in his confessional he hopes that maybe in a year they can revisit this and she'll change her mind.
the
But
dad
he tells his dad she's not gonna change. And
the
this is on top of the dad being like, "Why did you bring me this cake?"
the
And this is on top of the dad being like, "She already burned these bridges for me to respect her."
the dad spits at his feet twice and walks off.
The com Here so here's my thing. We knew that Sonny comes from a Muslim religion, and we knew how strict the dad was based on his visit with Vea the first time. I don't know what she thought was gonna happen with this cake. I don't know why she thought this cake was just gonna solve everything. She wasn't changing her position on anything.
You gotta look at it from her a cultural side. She's from a culture and a heritage that they because who they are, it affects everything.
What?
She's a white woman who thinks because her tears would change something. Oh, she can change or fix anything. When in
How is that
actuality,
culture? Okay. I just feel like that's American society. I don't know if that's
yeah,
necessarily culture.
yeah, she think that we think we can Americanize everything,
Uh-huh.
every situation,
Mhm.
and it's not so. And I think it's more of her guilt that made her go, "We need to tell him now,"
I have so many
because
questions.
there was no reason to. And
Yep.
he told her, "We don't need to."
I'm confused. One, Sonny's dad said it's not the first time that Sonny's turned his back on what his dad has said, would advised him of basically, and what would be good for him. It's not the first time. Secondly, the fact that Sonny tells Vea that he'll throw everything to the side to be with her is alarming. Because one, he doesn't mean it. And two, he's hoping it's going to change her mind in the future after he shows her how much he's willing to sacrifice. Three, Vea has no problem with Sonny completely throwing away everything that matters to him in his life. She has zero qualm with it at all. And she's just like, great. And she refers to these people, like his dad, his best friend, as outsiders.
Maybe she wants him to be in the same predicament as she is, where she doesn't have her best friend or anything to fall back on. She feels, and it's just him and her now. So it just needs to be him and her.
No, she doesn't view her friend as an outsider. She views them as outsiders. I'm trying to keep in perspective the fact that comes as a she has a foster kid background, and she did not have a healthy childhood whatsoever, according to her. A lot of her stories are very terrifying. Um, which I guess for her, I can see how throwing that all to the side makes sense. But I'm just confused why, after she's met this person in person now, had conversations with his family and his friends, she still views them as like people that don't matter or have value to Sonny. I don't understand that. And then on top of all of that, she tells the dad that they're gonna move to America. So not only was I disrespectful to you when I first met you, and I'm trying to not even sincerely apologize for all of that with this ridiculous cake, because I still don't know anything about your religion. And I'm not even dressed in an appropriate way for you, which was a high topic of conversation we had when I first met you as well. And then I'm telling you that on top of me not taking on the religion, I'm gonna marry your son and I'm gonna move him to America.
Screw all this. It's Sonny's fault. First of all, she knows Sonny is not going to stick to his guns when it comes to his religion. Because Sonny doesn't stick to his religion like he's supposed to. So she has no problem doing it because she knows he's going to give in. So it's Sonny's fault. At the end of the day, Sonny's the reason him and his father are not talking, and his father has disowned him again and walked out on him. So this is what Sonny wants. I'm not gonna sit here and act like Sonny is a victim and all this stuff. Sonny wants to pretend to be this devout Muslim when he wants to be, and he really isn't. That's why he keeps changing and moving the goalposts for her, because he doesn't value his religion like he wants her to value the religion. He's not practicing a religion like his father, I guess, is practicing a religion. So at the end of the day, Sonny is where Sonny wants to be. Period. I'm done.
From what I've seen, I can't say one way or the other that Sonny is not practicing the religion the way he's supposed to. I don't know enough about Muslim religion to say that he is not doing what he needs to do. Have we seen him drink? Yeah.
All you have to do
have we
is
seen him do
listen.
other stuff?
All you have to do is listen to his father talk to him. You know, you have to be somebody who's a part of the Muslim faith. So is she going to convert? What's he tell his father? No.
What I'm saying is, it's not for me to say how you can practice your religion at all. I can't say if you do one way or do it another way. I can't do that.
That's not my that's not my issue. My issue is he wants to live or pretend to be this devout Muslim.
I don't think he's pretending to be devout. I think he's just saying his religion is important to him.
And then why does he care if she becomes Muslim or not? It shouldn't matter at that point.
Well, I think for him, even though I agree with you, he is picking and choosing different elements. But I think for him, eventually he did want to have somebody who also practices religion.
It shouldn't matter if he's not practicing, or he's doing his version or his style of Muslim doing the faith. It shouldn't matter. As long as he loves her, that's all that should matter. You get what I'm saying?
I don't understand why you think logic is going to work with two people who are very impulsive. I don't know why you think logic is going to reign.
But my issue, that's my issue. My issue is you can't keep saying you want to be this and do the exact opposite every time.
You absolutely can. You absolutely can do that. You totally can.
Then you can't keep crying and complaining about the predicament you get in.
Of course you can. Of course you can. Which is exactly what he's doing. And we've seen it happen season after season after season. People do this all the time.
And this is why no one cares when he does it.
Well, people do care. His dad cares. His friends care.
No, I think his dad doesn't anymore. His dad figured that out after the dinner. He's like, you don't care, so I don't care anymore. That's why I think his dad did what he did. And like, I'm done.
If he didn't care, then he wouldn't have had the reaction he had. The opposite of caring is not caring. It's being, what's the word?
He's disappointed. His dad thought he was doing one way because he probably told his dad this is what's going to happen. And it's not. And he told his dad he's going to stick to his guns and his religion. Mm-hmm. Dad was like, okay. When it's time to him to show
complacent. That's it. That's the
time
opposite.
for him to show it. He didn't. So dad's like, I'm done. You are who you are.
But my thing is, if his dad didn't care, he wouldn't have gotten mad. He would just be like, it is what it is.
I don't think his dad is mad. His dad is disappointed.
His dad is mad.
It comes off as anger, but I think he's more disappointed.
You can have more than one feeling.
I get that.
You can have all the feelings at the same time.
I think it's.
So I do think his dad cares. I do think his dad's threat to not be attached to Sonny's life works, because Sonny said that he's done it before and they had like just kind of gotten back into a good place. So clearly it works to an extent.
I think it worked because Sonny was by himself and Sonny had nobody else.
I don't know that he was. The hint that his dad was given about Sonny doing this before made it sound like Sonny was in another relationship with somebody else. And it was a situation where this girl was not a Muslim. He was going to move forward with this person.
Yeah.
And then it fell apart.
Yeah.
And eventually he found ground with his dad again. And now he's kind of like repeating this cycle.
So I think his dad is more mad at himself for falling for it again. That's what I think. But at the end of the day, Sonny is going to cry about nothing. He don't care.
At the end of the day, there's no way this is going to work at all. There's no way this is going to work. Vega's going to get back to America, trying to get Sonny to come to America. Sonny's going to drag his feet about coming back to America and leaving everything he knows behind. They're going to have their continuous fights. She'll be back with her bestie boyfriend in the wings. There's no way. There's no way this works.
I'm done with Sunnyvale. I'm not gonna sit there and waste my time about a dude crying over his religion when
He's not crying over his religion.
yes, he's crying. He's crying because everything is based on his faith. He's crying over the fact that he can't get the girl that he loves to convert to his faith.
I don't think he's crying about that.
Okay, Javon.
He said he hopes in the future they can revisit
Whatever,
it.
Javon. It's not gonna happen. He knows it's not gonna happen.
But if anybody's crying over the religion, it's Vea. It's Vea being like, I didn't know he was this serious about it. And it's like, what do you
But he's really not.
What you mean, girl?
But
What you talking about?
But in her defense, he's really not.
When she said serious about it, she meant when he asked her to cover her tattoos.
Or to convert.
The convert thing, she knows that she won't have to. It's not a deal breaker.
Like I said, I understand. I get. I
And
get,
they keep saying they'll just practice their own religions. But I don't think she knows what that means. I think both of them are hoping the other one's just going to convert to what they believe. So
no, it's one person that's hoping the other person gives up on trying to
it's two.
convert her.
It's
That's
two
what it is.
people.
It's all Vea's doing is hope Sonny forgets that, stop trying to convert her, or pushes off trying to convert her, and then at some point he just gives up.
Vea lives a very spiritualistic lifestyle, and she wants Sonny to join in that lifestyle.
I think she can care less.
I don't think so.
I just think she doesn't want to do the Muslim faith.
I think she just wants everything done her way, which is what her ex-boyfriend talked about.
That too. At the end of the day, Sonny is the reason. Period.
Okay.
He's the one turning his back on everything for her.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on to Matilda and Niles. Pretty much, they got married. They got it in. The end. That's pretty much it. And Niles flies back to the States. And Matilda cries. Niles cries.
Niles has no idea how to get her to the States. He hasn't really looked into it at all. So,
and
there's that.
That's pretty much it. Niles trying to figure out how he can get to the States. But when the tell-all comes, that's the Niles I want to see. Niles like he about to go Rambo on somebody's ass. Adnan during the
he confronts Adnan about something. And it's like, that's not nice to do. And Adnan goes, I'll do whatever I want to do. And we see Niles not flinch, get even closer to Adnan's face and lift his glasses up. And I was like, oh no.
I'm like,
it's going to happen.
I'm like,
my money's on Niles.
It's like, he went cross-eyed. Let me take these glasses off so I can see you real good, player. He did not go
cross-eyed at all. He stared at Adnan dead in his eyes.
Let me take these glasses off so you can see my eyes, player.
Don't let the autism fool you.
Look into my eyes, player. You see the gangster in these eyes, player? You see
Don't let the autism fool you.
You see the realness?
It doesn't do anything about these hands. So wait, what would you?
He's like, maybe he can't see the eyes because of these glasses. Let him see the realness. You see the eyeballs, player?
If I was Adnan, I'd be a little intimidated by the fact that this man, one, got closer to me, and two, is not flinching.
At the same time, you grinding his teeth like this. I've been in this. I've been
waiting to hit somebody.
Exactly.
Adnan.
This ain't new to me. I hit players just to hit players. You know what I'm saying?
It's been a minute, and I've been waiting.
You know what I'm saying?
Adnan.
I just hit a motherfucker yesterday for nothing.
It looked intense. And of all the people to get to that point, the fact that it's Niles is just like, what is happening? What is going on?
Niles don't back down from nobody.
Listen, it was worth it. But then we got the dumb story between Adnan and Tiger Lily. It was done. It was done.
What is she crying about? I forgot.
She goes and meets with her friends at a playground place to complain that Adnan basically wants to still see his family. Like she's just very upset.
He wants to keep his place in Jordan.
He wants to keep his apartment in Jordan. And he asked his brother to be his power of attorney in the meanwhile when he's not in Jordan. And she's like, I don't know why he's doing that. I think he's trying to take my money. And I'm like, that's not how that would work.
Why would he get his brother to take your money when he's married to you? He could just take
He'll have power of attorney, and then he can try to go, because I don't have anything in place to protect me from him touching my assets. And it's like, girl, what are you
He don't
about?
need his brother to touch your assets. He can do it himself.
What are you
That's the
talking
whole
about?
point. That's where the disconnect is for me. I'm like, you're married. He can touch your
Why
assets
does he
without his brother.
possibly need to have an apartment in Jordan to see his family? See his family? To see his family? What do you
So,
mean?
and that's her crying
What do you
about
mean?
something she made up in her
He's
head.
trying to keep one foot in Jordan and one foot in America.
Basically, I
Yes.
guess
Yes, he is.
she thinks he's like her ex trying to take something from her.
Or this was their attempt to keep a storyline going for the show. Either way, it's dumb.
It doesn't make sense. And it pretty much that's her crying
Adnan.
at a playpen
No,
thing playground trying to get a playground for the new
The
kids.
owner of this playground company comes out and he looks so confused because it's nothing but adults. And he's like, "Can I help y'all? Can I help you with something?" And they're like, "Well, I'm looking at a playground, set up for the kids." And he's like, "Okay, well, you can test this out if you want. Let me know if you want the catalog." And they're like, "Great." And he's just like, "All right, I don't see a kid in sight. All right, well, anywho, it it didn't matter." And this tell I'm confused. Oh, let's talk about Vanya and Yasko.
Sure.
Vanya finally tells us what happened. Yasko basically ghosted her. She said that he came out to visit her in Miami for those couple of weeks, or is she in Orlando? She's somewhere in Florida. And it seemed like everything was going good. And then she tells her friend she got a text from him saying that he doesn't think it's gonna work, that her, you know, outlook about having kids doesn't match with what he's got going on with his son, and that, maybe they should stop talking. And she's like, "I don't know where this came from. This came out of nowhere." And it felt like the story wasn't full. It felt like we weren't getting all of the information. And slowly through the rest of her confessionals, she hints at the fact that she kind of kept bringing up she did not expect to have kids in her next relationship. Period. She did not plan to have kids. She didn't think kids were going to be in her future. Like, she said this more than once. And
So,
Yasko already has a son.
and Yasko already feeling some type of way was like, well, you the only reason you're repeating this is because you're uncomfortable. So
You don't want kids. You're
you
telling
don't
me
want
repeatedly
kids.
you don't want kids.
So let me make it easy for you.
Right.
And he backed off.
He was like, "Don't talk to me anymore." And she's like, "I don't know what happened." And she does the exact opposite. She still tries to reach out to him. She had planned to go out to Croatia to visit him. So she follows through with that plan anyway. And she hits him up and goes, "I'm in Croatia. I just wanted to see if we could get some closure." And she's like, "I just wanted to basically correct a few things." And she tells him, "It's not that I don't want kids. It's that I just didn't plan to have kids." And he's like, "Okay." She just keeps going on and on about how, like, she had an ex who had a daughter, and she doesn't want to repeat that 'cause she got really close with that kid, and she really felt something with him, and she thought that this was something that was going to last, and so, like, she was sad that he wanted to stop talking to her, and she's like, "So, do you wanna meet up?" And he's like, "Yeah, we can meet up." And that's where we leave it. She's in Croatia again and maybe gonna meet up with Yasko.
So I think if she explained that the first time, Josko would have been like, okay, that makes sense.
I feel like
We
it's
can,
a matter of time before they are broken up again because they don't live in the same country.
but isn't, but at least it'd be because they're not living in the same country and not over the child.
I feel like it could still be over the child. I feel like we also, again, don't have the full picture of what she keeps telling him. And there's also the fact that, at least at the time of filming, that kid is a foster. It's not a permanent adoption. It's not even necessarily a permanent placement. So I'm also wondering if there's a part of their conversations where Vanya's like, "Well, what should we plan for what your life looks like when you don't have your son?"
Yeah.
Which could be contentious.
And moving to Magda and Joe. Pretty much they make up after Joey tells Magda that he's still friends with his ex. I guess his apology was enough to save their relationship. Do I think it was? No. Do I think he's going to call her again engaged to her? No. But hey, it is what it is.
He kept saying probably. Like, that was really gross. He kept
And
saying probably. Like, that's what?
and that further lets me know all he wanted was the sex.
Uh,
And that's why I got upset with her because she didn't stick to her guns.
uh-huh.
That's why I got upset. She didn't stick to her guns. I thought she was. I thought she was gonna make it.
Mhm.
because normally they don't make it maybe the first 2-3 days, then whatever. She was hanging. I was like, oh, because I already knew, because even his rhetoric then was probably to everything. Everything was probably. Nothing was concrete. Everything was probably. So in his defense, he hasn't changed his tune
Right.
or what he's saying. So but that's pretty much it. Joey's getting ready to go back to the States, and Magnus pretty much in limbo. Well, they're together, but to me, she's in limbo.
She thinks
What do you think?
he's eventually going to propose. I don't even think she's necessarily in limbo. I think Joe's just going back to his regular life. I think they're going back to their regular lives. I don't think they're necessarily in limbo because they left it exactly where they had started it, which is like she wants marriage. He keeps saying maybe, but he now has had sex, so that's pretty much it.
Yep. She pretty much takes him to the airport where she promised to come to the States soon. She promised she'd try to make an effort to come to the States soon. And that's pretty much it. Joe goes back home.
Yep.
We talked about Boschko and Vanya.
We talk about Tiger Lily and
Talked about
Adnan.
Tiger Lily and Adnan. That's pretty much 90 days before the 90 days.
That it is.
Moving on to 90 Days Last Resort.
Child, the show. There's a cartoon villain happening on this show. And I'm not sure why it's going this way, but it is. Natalie is becoming a hard and fast cartoon villain on the show, and the show production ain't shit. They're doing everything they can to feed into that narrative for her as well. So that's happening. We pick up with our last resort crew after the terrible guys' day and girls' day situation unfolded. I've never seen so many men bitch. Anyway, so
Yeah, but they were having a good time bitching.
I
Like y'all don't
guess.
have a good time doing the same thing.
It was so hypocritical.
But
It was
once again,
so hypocritical.
there's men, very emotional men, but that's what you want.
You keep saying that,
That's what y'all
but
like.
people want a healthy emotional person. These guys are not healthy emotional people at all. I know you like things to be one way or no way, but
Whatever.
that's not how this works.
Whatever. But that's what happens. They bitch and complain about their woman, but having a good old time. And then women come in and prove them right by started spiking. One woman comes in and spiking drinks and proving them right. But then they go off, try to find their women, which is what it is.
First of all, they're like, we were having such a great time without the women being here. They don't need to be here. It can just be us guys. And they're like, yeah. And they all cheer and toast. And then they're like, where's my wife? What?
Where's the ball and chain?
What are you talking about?
They need you there so they can be like, see? And you'd be like, yeah, clank, and get even more party in it.
It didn't make any sense. And then they complained that they weren't touched the way they wanted to be touched when they did get back to their places.
Those guys.
Make up your minds.
They wanted to show the girls fun in their face and make them miserable that the guys are having fun. It worked.
Did it? Only one girl was upset, and that's because her husband was belligerently drunk. Belligerently. And then one of the guys tried to beat a woman, and they were like, ooh, well.
He didn't beat a woman. He was
gonna. He was going to.
He was just very upset that his drink got tossed.
He was gonna do it.
He was just upset his drink got tossed.
But he was gonna do it. Was the whole thing.
He was just upset.
He was gonna do it.
He was upset. But at the same time too, like she said, you can't then go to the room and expect the women to want to do something with you after that. After being assholes. So
and then they're like, see, this is what we're talking about. What? What?
First of all, I
hope you all break up.
You're in a situation where you're already having issues sober with your women to get them to have sex with you already. Why you think drunk you is going to get them to want to have sex with you, and you're even more into the person that you are?
Gross.
So, needless to say, everybody slept on the couch. No one slept in beds that night.
We see Jasmine try to get Gino into the bed, and Gino's just like, stop touching me. Get away from me. And then he's fully having a conversation, and they're like, who's he talking to? What's going on? But he's fully having a conversation.
You know how you sit there and you talk out loud to yourself sometimes?
It felt like he got shocked that the production was there, like a couple times.
It's like he forgot they were filming him. Ain't that right? And what's the dude name?
I don't even know.
What's Stacy's husband name?
Florian.
Ain't that right, Florian?
It was so crazy. Jasmine's like, "It's your turn to sleep on the couch." He's like, "I'm not sleeping on the couch. You sleep on the couch. Don't touch me." And so like it like.
And then to me, that's when she should have tried to find her stuff and leave.
Oh, her passport, you're saying?
Yeah, find your stuff and leave.
It was crazy. And then you had Julia dealing with Brandon's drunk behind self. He didn't want to put any shoes on, so he walked barefoot from the bar back to their apartment. And she was like, "Don't put your dirty feet in our bed." And he goes, "They're not that dirty." And she goes, "You just walk barefoot from the bar to the apartment."
Listen here, you trollop. Don't tell me I can't get in my bed with my dirty feet.
Listen, you whore.
When,
I'm not gonna
when
do
I
that.
get in this bed with your dirty, nasty behind jumping on tables and shaking that ass.
Let's have sex.
Twerking.
So like it didn't make any sense.
Actually, I don't think he ever said that.
Yeah, he did. That's why he gets pissed and closes the door.
Oh.
He's like, "Aren't you gonna join me in the bed?" And she goes, "Brandon, I hate it when you're like this."
Well, what he should have done was grab her by the back of her neck, threw her on the bed, and took her to town. She probably liked that.
I don't think so. She was already upset
Yeah.
over the fact that he was like, "Why are you being such a whore?"
She just said he doesn't take control.
She told Rob that, but that was before the drunk situation.
And she don't think Rob's going back and tell him?
Well, he didn't, because he found out watching the In Between the Sheets.
Oh, you're right.
A year later.
You're right. He did.
So, anywho, but she's having that whole conversation with Sophie about how like she doesn't know what to do now because he doesn't want to like actually sit and talk, and it feels like they're just friends and all of this stuff. And then he's stupid drunk after yelling at her.
I think that's what
And here's my thing about the whole Brandon thing. He met her as a go-go dancer. He met her when she was literally dancing on tables and was like, "That one. That's the one I want to get with." And now that she still does it, he's like, "Why are you still doing it? I was doing it when I met you."
She's doing it for free. That's the problem.
Ugh.
That's the problem. She's doing it for free.
Terrible.
Do it for some money. I probably won't have a problem.
Terrible. So after that crazy night, they then meet up with the psychologist because they have to do more like group therapy type things. And they find out they're going to be in a little competition. They have to do like 2-person kayaking where they've got to swim out to a boat, get a ball, swim to a different part of a dock to try to sink that ball like a basket, and then get back to the shoreline. There's a few rules. They have to decide who's going to be the rower and who's going to be the dunker. And they can't switch those roles once they've started. And they're like, "Cool." And they're like, "Go." And immediately Josh starts cheating with Natalie. Josh also has come back to the therapy group after he said he was leaving and after the whole Sophie debacle where he was clearly trying to start something.
Pretty much he comes back, tells Natalie that she's being delusional. Let's have a good day. Let's be unified. Then he aggressively makes her kiss him.
While she's trying to bring up good points, he just starts kissing her. And he's like, "You can continue to be mad or we can move past this." And it's like, we didn't address anything. We didn't address anything. What are you talking about right now?
Yeah, they did. They addressed him aggressively kissing her.
And then
in
the Sheets episode after the main show, the psychologist is like, "Yeah, he is avoidant. This is somebody who's avoidant and doesn't want to address, what their part is that they played in the situation that's unfolding. Rather than take ownership of what happened, they just want to move to the future. They just want to move past it, not address it, and keep it moving." And it's like that. What is that? What? And Josh keeps painting it as like outside forces trying to come after them. What are they? He won't call her his girlfriend. So what are they doing?
So now we're in the kayaks and we're kayaking out to get the balls to go then shoot a hoop and get to make a basket and then race back to the shoreline.
As they're going for it, Julia and Brandon pull into the lead, followed by Sophie and what's his face?
Rob.
But Josh is not having that. And he T-bones them so that they're off course and he can continue on, fully cheating. Also, him and Natalie have switched their positions. She was supposed to be a rower. He was supposed to be the dunker.
So now everybody gets to the place where all the balls are, the basketballs are.
And they got to untie them from the boat.
Have, what's her face? Jasmine literally cheating and grabbing boats and pushing them out the way.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah. Well,
no one cares.
they also finished dead last anyway, so it didn't matter.
So no one cares. So now.
But Josh, when they get there, Natalie steals the ball that Julia was after, and then they get him untied. And then they try to race towards the dock. They get to the dock, but they are unable to make the shots for whatever reason. Then Brandon and Julia get to the dock, and Julia tries to like anchor them to the dock by hanging onto the basket. She ends up breaking one of the baskets and has to grab the other one. But as she's pulling down the other one, Natalie shoots. Natalie scores. And then they have to race back to the shore.
You say Josh and Natalie win. And
they say they win.
But everybody's like, cheater, cheater, cheater.
Yes.
Mind you, it's Jasmine again, starting the whole thing again.
Mind you, Natalie cackles on the kayak like a maniacal evil queen for some reason. She's just like laughing and throwing her hands together. It's very bizarre. And then, yes, they get to the shoreline and everybody's like, they cheated because they did. And it's Josh and them being like, no, we didn't cheat, blah, 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 blah. But then it's the counselors going, well, we did have that rule in place that once you decided to be whatever roles you chose, you had to stay in those roles. And Josh is like, that was until we started. And he's like, yeah.
But to Josh's point, they're only saying that because him and Thing won.
Josh's point is they're only saying that because they hate Natalie. He's not even including himself as part of the coupledom. He's like, they're all against Natalie. Not us as a unit. They're all against Natalie.
And
which
to
is weird.
some extent, he's kind of right.
No, this is where we're going to disagree.
Kind of right.
Because I'm like Calvin, I've been watching every episode of Last Resort.
I'm not saying he's fully right.
And Natalie has been an instigator since day one. I don't know why, but she has been coming for these women. And I'm not sure why.
So then that's kind of his point. They're kind of picking on
his
her.
Point is it's out of nowhere. They all decided to bully Natalie for no reason.
Okay.
My point is she's laid the groundwork for them to not like her. And now that they're in a situation where she's like, well, won't you support me? They're like, no, we're not gonna support you. You're terrible.
Okay, got you. Okay.
And then Josh is like, they're just jealous of our love because they're not having sex.
That
it's like, what?
That I don't agree with. That's just far-fetched. No one is enjoying no one. So that's a lie.
I also would argue they're all couples. What are you and Josh? What are you, Josh, with Natalie? What are you? Because you won't say you're a couple. What are you?
And that's a whole nother thing. What are you really?
So many questions.
At least they're a couple. At least they're a fighting couples.
It doesn't make any sense.
So now we go to the therapy portion of therapy, and Rob and Sophie are talking.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What made you?" And Rob is, God, he's such an emotional little girl.
He's like an emotional toddler. He's not great at continuing communication once he's upset. Once he's upset, that's it. Everybody get out the way.
She didn't give me the emotional support I needed to tell me that, and she felt that I was the reason you were losing. She blamed me. First of all, she has nails, so I don't know why you thought she was going to get that ball out of there, number one.
He was saying that it doesn't matter what he did. She was never going to be happy with what she's constantly criticizing. That's what his point was.
She criticizes me all the time.
Even if I did everything she wanted me to do, I still wouldn't be doing enough. And it's like, yeah. Yeah, man. That's exactly what would happen.
I wouldn't have that issue. I'd just be like, whatever. First of all, I wouldn't even take the game that seriously. But someone here,
I don't know that they're not. Well, yeah, I definitely would take that game seriously.
And that's what would happen. I'd just be like, I don't care.
I feel like he was conflating two different situations into the one thing.
Exactly what he was doing.
And it was confusing.
He's so mad from last night.
It was confusing. And he kind of stays mad. He stays mad. So
while Sophie is trying to explain herself, all of a sudden you hear this maniacal laugh.
No, it's before she starts laughing and Rob is complaining that Sophie was not happy with anything. Natalie adds, well, maybe that's because she's lazy. And then starts maniacally laughing.
She says she's lazy. So then they're like, okay, whatever. Sophie.
Like cackling like a witch. Like it was the craziest thing.
And they go, Sophie, so what you have to say towards that, Sophie? And Sophie's trying to explain herself. And that's when Natalie starts the maniacal, crazy laughing.
And she's like, could you please
nonstop.
stop laughing while I'm talking? We're all in group therapy. We're all trying to get the most out of this experience. And Natalie's like, sorry, but then continues laughing to the point where it pisses Julia off. And she's like, it's not about you right now. How about you shut up? And Josh is like, I don't know why they're attacking her. I'm going to let Natalie laugh because they're not respecting her. And it's like, what are you talking about, Josh? You're also not respecting her. Anyway.
He's just being
Anywho.
with his women. That's all he's doing.
It doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
Nothing makes sense in this whole the whole resort. There's a bunch of couples who shouldn't be together no matter what they do at all.
So crazy. Anyway.
So we just showing how to be dysfunctional in a relationship. And we wonder why a lot of relationships are failing nowadays. It's because people are seeing nothing but dysfunctional relationships, thinking that's how relationships are.
It's not that the relationships are failing nowadays. It's that people aren't getting to the relationship part. They're not even getting to the relationship part nowadays.
That's pretty much. And then we leave it at that. Natalie laughing maniacally during the group therapy session of the event. And that's 90-day resort.
The last resort.
The last resort.
But the previews for next week, also confused. First of all, how are we not done yet? Secondly, they keep hinting at a tell-all, like a reveal of some sort. What's going to be the reveal? What's happening?
I have no idea.
So many questions.
Really close to the mic just now.
And I think that's it. I think that's all the shows, right?
Yep, that's every last one.
Are you watching anything good?
Nope.
We finished Creature Commandos.
I'm just channel surfing at this point.
Creature Commandos, to me, ended in like a state. Like, it was interesting. It was interesting as the story was progressing. But the last episode, so many people died. Were like they were leading up a story just to be like, just kidding, nothing. I'm not going to go anywhere. Just kidding. Joke's on you. And then it was basically Suicide Squad. They ended with them being led to a different version of the team.
So what happened, pretty much, the person who she thought was a bad guy, she just shot him in the head because...
Who are you talking about, Colin?
The bride shot the princess in the head at the end.
But they also were leading up with her Frankenstein storyline. There was a lot of lead up to that. And when Frankenstein finally sees her, she just kills him.
Yeah.
And I was like, are we not going to get
I don't think he's
anything else?
He's not dead. I think he's going to end up being part of the team when that dude comes back.
He's got to get arrested in order to become part of the team.
I don't think he's going to get arrested. I think he's just going to be with that commander dude.
With Flag?
And they're going to be, when Flag needs him, they're going to be part of the team.
The vibe it gave me was that they were going to just give you a whole new team. So in the comics, that's what happens. Like with Creature Commando, Suicide Squad, it's just a whole new team every time.
Yeah. Well, I didn't read none of the comics, so I don't know. So, but yeah, that's pretty much.
It just ended like, eh.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm watching. Kind of, sort of. Anything else, I'm just freelancing at this point. I want to catch you back up on Abbott, but that's about it.
Is there anything else? Outside of Love is Blind Germany, I'm not really watching anything either. Oh, RuPaul's Drag Race. Watching RuPaul. But I've only seen the first episode. I think the second episode finally dropped. Right now, I'm not really rooting for any one particular girl. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that, too. All right. You got anything else?
No.
All right. Thank you for listening to We Like That podcast.
So we like that.
Go ahead and click that subscribe button. You know you want to. And rate us 5 stars. I'm Javon.
I'm Calvin.
Later, people.
And we're out.